All right, Lantern Sports pregame show with myself, Kevin Lapka, alongside Casey Smith. Number 5, Ohio State against number 19, recently ranked number 19, Purdue Boilermakers. Now, Casey, Purdue has been the kryptonite of top 3 ranked Big Ten teams, defeating number 2 Iowa weeks ago, defeating number 3 Michigan State last week, and I don't want to bring it up, but 3 years ago, Ohio State 2018, Purdue was also their kryptonite that year as well. It's a trend. Mm-hmm. What do you like from this game? Are you nervous about the trend? Because there's a lot out there who are, just knowing that. It's going to be a good one Saturday, 3:30. What do you like for it?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Kevin. I'm a big numbers never lie kind of guy. And our guy, sports editor Jack Emerson, in his tweet, he said, they're the spoiler makers. Yeah, I know. They play spoiler all the time. So the one guy that's really been a factor for Purdue has been David Bell, just playing that number 1 receiver role. In 2018, since you go back to it all the time, he's the guy that torched Ohio State then was Rondale Moore. He had 12 receptions, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And David Bell, he kind of reminds me of Rondale Moore a little bit, just in the way that he's shifty in the open space, and he really plays with his hands, just being able to catch the ball with good, strong hands. He's 8th in the country with 1,003 yards on 64 catches, which is good for 12th in the country. And Steel Chambers, recently converted linebacker, said Wednesday in the media availability that some guys have that it factor. And he said David Bell was one of them. They have some guys on their team that also have that sort of it factor to them. And one of those guys for Purdue is George Karlaftis at defensive end there. He's a projected first overall pick, and that's why I'm highlighting DeJuan Jones this week as a player to watch. He missed his start last week against Nebraska, and that definitely sort of hurt as Stroud was taken down. C.J. Stroud, he was taken down 2 times, tied for the most sacks that Ohio State's offensive line has allowed at all this year. So they're in a big bounce back spot there in that regard. They had a little bit of struggles with the run game as well. So expect them to sort of slide that protection over to the left side with DeJuan Jones and Paris Johnson on the left side of that offensive line. Expect them to slide that protection over to take care of Karlaftis and keep Stroud upright, because one play I wanted to highlight from my play breakdown earlier this week, in the red zone, C.J. Stroud, he was able to step up in the face of pressure after a good swim move from Nebraska's defensive tackle, but then the defensive end was able to stun around and get in his face, force a bad throw. Ohio State had to settle for the field goal. So keeping Stroud upright and comfortable in the pocket is definitely going to play a factor in Ohio State's success.
Yeah, it's going to be important for them to uphold that protection. Now, you look at some stats here, and it's no secret what Ohio State needs to do offensively, right? It comes in the red zone. I mean, they hold a 66% red zone TD percentage, which is second best in the Big Ten, but 66 that number was a lot higher early on in the season. The past 2 weeks, that number has dropped significantly, but on the other side, Purdue, 50%. Red zone TD percentage. So they're 11th in the Big Ten in that area, but it's more, I think that number is more so about Ohio State, because that's been the conversation recently, is they've had no trouble getting into the red zone. They've been cruising, and once they get there, it's been the Noah Ruggles show, which is fine. Let Noah Ruggles get his flowers, but you want to see him score touchdowns, Travion Henderson, and what do you think they need to do once they do get in the red zone? The play designs, the play calling, I think, what they were doing early on in the season that we saw at Indiana, we saw it against Maryland, was give yourself a chance on a one-on-one ball to Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. You have 2 of the best receivers in the country. I would say at least one of those plays, if you're going to get down to the red zone, you're going to have 3 plays. One of them, take a chance, say my guy's better than yours. But what would you like to see in the red zone to help them increase that red zone TD percentage, because they're going to need to do it on Saturday? Yeah,
the one play that I found to be successful against Nebraska was the off-tackle run. They were able to pull Jeremy Ruckert, whether that be from the opposite end as a tight end, pull him around to the other side, and be able to chip a linebacker and seal a hole off the right tackle. Or, there have been calls for C.J. Stroud to run a little bit more.
Yeah.
He had a 6-yard run in the red zone last week, and he was able to sort of just dive forward. A lot of those plays that look like sort of the read option, they're designed runs all the way, Gibbs to Travion Henderson. So I think they really need to establish the run in the red zone, and just in general to be able to take down this Purdue defense and be able to punch the ball into the end zone for a touchdown.
Because I think they're going to need to score touchdowns to win this game. Like I said, Purdue, they sneak up on it. Now, the number one thing that I think focus on, too, as well, is this game is at home at the Shoe. It would be different if you got to go to Purdue, and like they did in 2018, that game was on the road. So if there is one thing that's different, when you look at the parallels that people are drawing between this year and the rankings in 2018, it's that you do play this game at home. So that is a 3:30 kick at the Shoe. We'll be there myself alongside Casey there for the post-game show. Our editors, Jack and Jacob, with the articles for you at thelantern.com and all over social media as well. So we'll see you guys after the game. Number 5, Ohio State. Number 19, Purdue. And Saturday, we'll see you guys later. Take care. We'll see you next time.